This is an 8-iron, and it's a dead shank.
Wow.
Way right.
Oh, takes a hop off the path.
You got to be kidding me. Very tough pitch shot right here. You got to hit it into the hill, one hop up and bite, and it's in.
Kind of like that.
I would like to welcome to the Sub 70 podcast my good friend and one of my favorite people in professional golf I've ever got to spend time with. And he is a man who knows like everybody in the industry, from professional golfers to people in it. He really does need no introduction. So I would like to welcome Mike Dominick to the Sub 70 podcast. Mike, thank you for joining us tonight. I've been looking forward to this conversation. We are doing this live without a net. Basically, there's no script. And let's just talk some golf and life and shit and stuff we're both seeing and just like wing it and see where this goes for 45 minutes.
I am here to burn shit down.
I love it. All right.
I'm ready to go.
Well, not burning shit down, but just some like cool golf stuff. Like I haven't even talked to you that much about this because I wanted to wait, but I know you're just out in Bandon. I haven't been there yet. Give me the field report. Bandon Dunes from a professional golfer standpoint, architecture, the hang, the boys, the whole 9 yards. Where's this one rank? You've played golf over the world. Where's this one rank of like you got to go do it, or it's like a good but not great? You know, give me your synopsis.
Well, so I mean, I'm a little bit biased towards Bandon because I growing up in Eureka, I'm 3.5 hours driving from there. And I think it opened up back in 1998 was when they built the original, and they just had a small clubhouse. And when we first went there, I think it was my second year playing pro. I remember my dad went there the opening year and stuff like that and said it was great. They only had one golf course. And but I went there with a couple college teammates of mine and my dad, and we played all the courses. We got there in the morning. We played Pacific Dunes, which was the highest rated course, in the afternoon the first day. It was 82 degrees, no wind, could not have been a better day. Then the next day, we go to bed, everyone's kind of got their own room. We wake up and we hit 36 and it's blowing 40 miles an hour all day. And it's probably 55 degrees, there's just a tale of two, just 2 different days. I mean, then the last day we went out and we played Bandon Trails and, took a walk kind of through nature and all that, which is the way it was designed to be made. And the cool thing about trails, a lot of people say it's their least favorite. I think it's probably one of the more difficult ones. But the cool thing about trails is the way it was designed was for every hole out there, you feel like you're on your own golf course. You feel like you're the only people there. There's only 2 holes that go right next to each other. It's a par 3 up the hill and a par 4 going away. It's 11 and 12. Or no, 13, 14. It's somewhere along those lines. I had a few beers, so I couldn't remember exactly which hole it was.
Not shocked by this. Not shocked you had a couple.
Absolutely not. When you kind of go on a bender, you gotta have a few. But the thing is, Bandon's not for everybody. I like it because I love to go on golf trips. I like to hang with the guys. I like to have a few beers. I like to gamble a little bit. And the thing about Bandon is the hospitality is unbelievable. They do not know how to say no there. I mean, we're sitting there, and obviously everyone's heard the legends of the bunker bar, right? The bunker bar just sits below the main lodge, and it's just a bar. I mean, it's nothing special. It's whatever. They have vents in there so you can smoke cigars. They have 2 pool tables, a dartboard, and a bunch of dice cups. And you go down there and you drink and you smoke cigars and you play liar's dice. And, and a lot of times you'll get 12, 14 guys together and just everyone will sit there and play liar's dice. And like the first time we were there, it was probably 10:30 at night. And we go up to the bartender, we're like, hey, we're thinking about having another one. When do you close? He goes, whenever you guys want to leave.
I love it.
Like, holy crap. Okay. So we stayed there. We had another drink, and then we go, hey, we want to order, a couple glasses of scotch to go back to the room. Can we get to-go cups? He goes, Dad, just take the cups. Just take the glasses back to your room. The maids will get them in the morning and they'll bring them back here. I'm like, no shit. Like, that's awesome. And 24-hour shuttle service, regardless if it's 2:00 in the morning and you're completely sloshed, a shuttle will take you back to your room. Whether it's the right room or not, that's up to you.
You find a bed to sleep with somebody with, though. Make it work.
It just depends which one you want to jump in.
Right.
You know.
Can you play those golf courses blowing at 40 though? Is it unplayable, or are they not that hard? Where it's
you know, it depends on. So we played Bandon. So we played Bandon Dunes the last day, and it was blowing probably the hardest. And I played some of the USAM tees where they played where it was fine. We had a kind of a northwest wind, so a lot of the holes, you know, the way it's designed is you will play one hole into the wind, one hole crosswind, one hole downwind, one hole crosswind, one hole into the wind, next hole downwind. Like that's just kind of the way that it moves around because it's built for every different wind direction.
Right.
I mean, you can play. Let me see. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's the fifth or sixth hole is a par 3 right along the ocean. I had 171 yards to a back right pin, and I blistered a 4-iron and came up 25 feet short of the flagstick. You know. But the next day I went out and played there, I could hit pitching wedge or sand wedge.
The wind has that, obviously, that kind of a factor into what clubs
right.
you play, and bunkers are one day in play and now they're not in play, right? It's like, so I'm assuming it's completely
exactly
how golf was originally designed.
It was how golf was originally designed. You know, it's walking only, so that kind of deters a lot of people. You know, we've had a lot of guys from our club want to go up there and have a, you know, just like a guy's trip, but, you know, they ride down here every day.
Right.
And, you know, you have some joints that don't work, you know, especially when you start getting older. And, you know, some of them didn't enjoy it because when you put that much walking with that much weather, sometimes the weather, most of the time the weather, it wears on you a little bit. And so some people, you know, don't really like it. But in terms of the accommodations and everything, like we got one of the cabins this time where it had 4. Everyone had their own master suite, their own bathroom, their own bed, their own, you know, closet sitting there right next to the, you know, the lily pond. And we had a central room with a mini bar, coffee station, living room with a big screen TV, you know, which would be like really cool right now, especially when you have all the sports going on, you know. So a little cigar smoking patio on the back, and, you know, things are just great there. And it's its own private piece of property. There's no police officers. There's, you know, it's just kind of do everything at your own risk. It's a golf playground for people that love to do it and don't want to make the trip over to Ireland or Scotland, you know, and just kind of get that experience. But I know, like, you've had several, I mean, I think you've thrown out, you know, Dismal River, Sand Valley. I haven't been to those places, but, you know, from the way that you've made it sound, they seem awesome. Or similar.
Yeah, it's similar. You can take I mean, Dismal would be not impossible. You wouldn't want to walk it. It's just the holes are 900,000 feet from each other, and the topography, you know, I don't see anybody ever walking those golf courses. They're 3 miles from the clubhouse to start off with, so, or whatever, 2.5 miles. That would be bad from the start. But yeah, I mean, it's a similar vibe, right? Like, it just sort of, they have like one rule, like, don't be an asshole. You can do whatever you want to,
exactly.
Off where you want to, and just like treat everybody with respect. But it's like the greatest. Dismal, in my opinion, is one of the greatest golf experiences in the world. I've been out there 9 million times, and I can't wait out, you know, to get out there 9,000,001 because of the food and everything. It's fantastic, right?
Right. Well, I mean, I remember seeing the pictures on social media about the food, you know, with your kids and stuff. And I mean, it looks awesome. It looks kind of like the same hospitality of, you know, Bandon. That's the thing about Bandon. There are no rules there. Just don't ruin anyone else's fun and don't be an asshole.
Yeah, my only concern is my left knee is shot. I've had 2 surgeries on it. I had like no meniscus left, and I'm getting old. Like, I'm 47, right? So, like, I think
that's old.
That's old. I know. Like, by day 3, I don't know if my knee would hold up, or I'd be like bone on bone pain, which is like it sucks. I can physically walk it.
That's true.
But,
you know, but I mean, that's something where I think where you would just have to take a nice bottle of something. So, like, the first day. We had a bottle of Glendronach 12 in the bag. Caddies took a nice swig of that every now and then and partook. The second day we had Talisker Storm, you know, which is more of a peaty Scotch or whatever.
You want that in the bad weather. In the bad weather, you want the peaty. Yes.
100%. Well, the second day we went out because we just did 18 a day, and we were there with 2 guys who were, you know, they're 25 handicaps, but they love to have a good time. And, the second day we went and played the Sheep Ranch, and I was excited because I've heard so many mixed reviews about it. Like my high school golf coach, JB, he's just like, Dominic, it's on a retired wind farm. You know why the wind farm got retired? Because it was too windy. It was too windy for a wind farm. And I'm like, that sounds awesome. Like, I'm in. I got to experience this. So it's built on the smallest piece of property at the northwest corner of the property. Obviously, you can't go any further west, but it's on it's between 127 and 147 acres. I mean, it's a small piece of property.
Yeah.
So the problem that they run into is they have a lot of holes that go back and forth kind of alongside each other, and it blows out there, and you can't hear people yell or you can't see people. Right. So they've had some incidents where balls have been rolling up around, other groups that have been playing, and it's skeptical. However, in terms of the architecture and the history and how they left it, it's awesome because when you first went there, you would go to the head pro or somebody in the pro shop and say, hey, listen, I want to go play the Sheep Ranch. And they would say, okay, our superintendent will meet you at the gate on the north end of the property, bring a check for $125, and he will let you onto property. And they handed you a course map. And it was like everything was unmaintained. Like it was literally a sheep ranch, like playing golf in the 1800s.
So awesome.
And they just, so you kind of could find your own way around there. So the 17th hole, they have these kind of, call them like ghost trees or whatever that are hanging out on the edge of the left side of the property, going down to the ocean. And you see a little tee box about 80 yards on the front left, right next to the ocean that's just sitting there. And that was the old tee box for the second hole at what was the original Sheep Ranch that went back to 16. That is like a little par 3, which is one of their signature holes, and then they left like some of the turf around there. So like you could hit it down the middle of the fairway and you would have kind of a skeptical lie, but you just get that. But then 25 feet away from you, they might have perfectly, manicured festy grass.
So who did the design on the first sheep ranch before it was open, right? Like how it is now?
Half of it. I don't know who the other half was, but I know half of it was Core Crenshaw did half of it.
All right.
And then someone else did the other 9. And and here's the thing though, it's super, because they built it around the wind. It is super playable. It's not very long and it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a great little golf course that they put up there. And it has its own private driving range, which is great.
Maybe I'll just have to hire another caddy just to carry me at times if my knee starts flailing up or something like that. Like that seems reasonable. Like a Sherpa. I need a Sherpa for Bandon.
Here's the cool thing. The guy who caddied for me, we weren't going to take caddies, and I finally told my dad, I was like, hey, you're going to want to take caddies because you get these like rickshaws that you can drag across the green and no one will yell at you, And I'm like, you guys are going to be battered and tired, and it's way better if you take a caddy to kind of guide you, because I'm not going to take my time at the experience and tell you where to hit it and look for your golf balls, So the guy who caddied for me was a guy I played against in high school. He was a couple years older than me. He played at Chico State, Danny Clayton. If you go to Bandon, call and have him reserve him. I mean, he's been there for 10 years. He's a great player, and he will drink with you, shoot the shit, have a great time, call on airstrikes, get beers delivered out on the course for you. I mean, he's the guy. And then the other guy who caddied for us is pretty funny because he looked exactly like Walter from the Big Lebowski.
Oh, who doesn't like Walter
exactly
from the Big Lebowski?
Right. Right. I thought he was going to pull a gun out of the bag and start, point it at us.
Did he have the glasses?
So for every year for Halloween, he goes as Walter, and he has a green. Right. So he has a green plastic squirt gun, and he goes around and would shoot people in the mouth with tequila shots. And he had all the lines down. He had the vest, the glasses, everything. It was so cool.
Did he yell "Market Zero" for any of the shots if he saw an infraction or anything like that?
I wish that he would have done that. I should have yelled that.
How do you not? Yeah.
Like when you're putting out there from 85 feet on some of these holes, and and you're 3-putting, and the guy's going great 3-putt, you're like, right. Market zero.
Market zero.
Market
right.
zero. Market zero.
About a world of pain, Smokey. Right. God, it's one of the greatest. Is that not one of the greatest movies of all time?
my girlfriend was worried about me. Last fall after Q school, I came home and we got a nice little string of cool weather. I didn't touch my clubs. And I sat in here, and the Big Lebowski was on almost every day. And I went to the store, and I got Kahlua, cream, and vodka. And I drank White Russians and watched the Big Lebowski probably 3 or 4 nights in a row while she was teaching yoga. And I'm going, she'd come home like, how you doing?
Well, half lit now.
I'm doing great. Just don't light a match, honey.
It's like one of I don't even think it was out in the movie theaters. No one knew about it that much. It's one of the most hilarious movies. I've thought about doing the thing where you put the ball hitting the putt into the hole instead of the bowling pins. Like when he's just chilling, listening to the sound of it. Is there something to the Lebowski where I could get a little bit out of that? Right? Like if I just heard the ball. That sound of it going into the cup, would it improve my putting? Because it did. I mean, I'm thinking the Lebowski was definitely thinking this was helping his mental bowling game of just hearing those pins crash.
Well, something. I think he had a little something else in his system too that may have
just enhanced it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the best is when one of my favorite parts of that movie is when he goes and he puts the piece of wood on the ground. He puts all the nails in it, and then he puts the chair up against the door to keep people from coming in. The door opens the other way.
It's just the greatest.
It's classic.
The subtleties of
classic,
that movie. It's just the greatest thing ever.
But one of the funniest memes or whatever clips, whatever you call them nowadays, that I've seen on Instagram is when it says me on my way to play a midweek round with the boys, and it's him right after he gets checked out by the gynecologist, and he's just driving with the joint in his mouth, hitting the roof. It's
the greatest. It's one of the greatest movies ever. I think I got to put it in front of Caddyshack.
It really tied the room together. Really tied the room together. Caddyshack is great. I was so disappointed in Caddyshack 2 and 3.
Yeah, I can't
they
talk about those. No, but the first, but Lebowski is utter classic. And if somebody doesn't find it funny, I'm like, how do you not find that movie funny as shit? It's the greatest. Everything about it, it's just the greatest friggin' movie ever. It truly is.
Yeah, well, it goes along those lines too with Tropic Thunder. I was watching Tropic Thunder whenever it came out, and I'm watching this. I'm going, dude, this is the worst war movie I've ever seen. The first time I watched it, then the next time I had a few beers and I watched it, and I go, oh my god, this is a comedy. I don't know why I didn't even know it was a comedy at first, especially with the cast. I watched it 3 or 4 times. I didn't even realize who Robert Downey Jr. was. I'm like, where is he in the movie?
Yeah, you're like, this doesn't compare to Deer Hunter. Well, yeah, right. It's exactly no. Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, this isn't Saving Private Ryan.
Exactly. Well, I was going to say back to Bandon because now we got in that tangent. Yeah. Did you have any good rounds? You are a professional golfer.
I did. I played the best at Sheep Ranch. I had, for blowing 40 out there, I had 6 birdies. I think I shot 3 or 4 under at Sheep Ranch, and it was the first time seeing it. And here's the thing, it could have been lower because there were a lot of times that we had, because we had 4 guys, 2 caddies, double bagging it. A lot of times, since I had been there before and I was a little more on vacation, I was trying to have my buddy Nick, who was up there. I was trying to have the caddy help him out as much as possible and get him around because I can find my own way really around the golf course. So I shot, 68 there. The first day at Trails, I was a little hungover from the night before.
Doesn't that make you play better?
3.5 hours. Well, no, not really. Not after your 30s.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't like the good hangover. It was like I had the headache and we're driving Highway 1 hangover.
The curves and stuff. Yeah, that could be.
No point. You're kind of looking at the ocean, trying to get some sea air or something, just to make sure you don't puke. But the first day I got there, I hit it okay. I found a little bit in my putting. I probably shot 75 at Trails, and that was a tough time. I hit it pretty good. I just, I let a couple slip away here and there. I had a 3 putt from 6 feet. I want to say I was 74, 75. And then Bandon the last day, we were moving around tee boxes. I had a couple birdies. But then the back 9, it got so ridiculous. I mean, The 10th hole, I left one in the jaws. 11 was unbelievable because it's like 420 yards uphill. And I went driver. I hit 5 wood from 160 yards, and I was 35 feet short of the green.
Did you at least hook it? Did you hook it in the wind a little, I hope?
No, it was a dreaded dead straight ball. Did not hook it into the wind. At this point, I was not capable of doing that. And left there was fescue, right there's bunkers, and I'm sitting there going, okay, we're just going to try and get this thing anywhere on the front half of the green because 3 wood was too much. It may have been the right play. But then, I hit a pitch shot out of the fescue, out of a rough lie to 15 feet, and I'm straight downhill downwind. And I probably hit this putt 6 inches, and it just rolled all the way there and just leaked past the hole to about a cup. That's how hard I was going. But then the next, what was it? A couple holes later, the par 5 that everybody was talking about in the amateur. I went driver pitching wedge. It's 550, 560. I think from the tees that we played it. There was one tee box more behind us, but I didn't play that one. But I went down there and hit driver pitching wedge and 2 putted for birdie. But the next hole, it's right back into teeth. It's a short hole. It depends. With no wind, it depends on what line you want to take. I pulled it left into the bunker, and I had 130 yards into the green, and I was right in the middle of the bunker, and I think I hit 7 iron out of the fairway bunker straight up in the air, and I watched this thing come back at me. I had a 50 yard pitch shot to get up there and save par.
A wee breeze.
A wee breeze. Again, for example, there's a 320-yard par 4. The 16th hole goes right along the ocean. It's a great hole. Last time I played it, I birdied it. It's awesome. Split fairway, super scenic, the whole thing. I was going to hit 4 iron. Caddy talked me into 5 wood. I 3/4 to 5 wood with a little bit of spin on it, and it airmailed the green and went down the hill into the ocean or on the beach or wherever it was. That's just how hard it was blowing. But it's one of those things, you're at Bandon, you gotta embrace it, and people don't like weather sometimes. They want to go someplace and they always want 75, no wind, greens rolling at 9.5. And I'm like, dude, screw it, man. How many times are you going to play? And give me the wind. Yeah.
I'll hit 6 hybrid from 118 and draw it into the wind and hold my line. I've got that shot. I'm not afraid to use it.
I was going to ask you about that. Is that 6 hybrid because you have 6 hybrids, or do you have like a 4 and a 3 in there somewhere?
I got a 4, 5, and 6.
Okay. All right. By the way, I do like the hybrid that you sent.
Well, what happened?
The hybrid and the 3 that you sent over.
I don't know if I should be proudly admitting this, but what happened is at Kishwaukee National Golf and Polo Club in DeKalb, Illinois, I don't know if you knew it had a polo field there too. And a national membership. Polo field, national membership, helicopter landing pad. It's got everything. Hope you hear the sarcasm.
Really? So I can have my friend fly me in on the helicopter.
You could land the private jet there too. There's also a runway at Kishwaukee National Golf and Polo Club. It's got everything that anybody ever wanted in a club. But out there's a bunch of 180, 175, 188 yard par 3s, right? And it's I can hit this little hybrid with a little cut. It goes up. It lands soft. Why am I fighting this with a 6 iron? So it started off as a little par 3 finder. And then I got pretty good with it. I actually can hit knockdowns. It's easier out of the rough. And then it's, just put your ego aside. And I was I'm actually a better golfer with a 6 hybrid than a 6 iron. And I kind of sweep it anyway. I don't take huge divots.
Yeah.
And
which is great.
It actually works. I'm, if I really want to turn one hard, 190, pretty big, right? A lot of horsepower there. But it's good from 175, 180. It's pretty money. You can just 3/4 a little cutty 6 hybrid out there, or in your case, if it's a 30-mile-an-hour wind, I'll put it back in the stance. I'll hit a little punch draw, 122.
Yeah.
I've got that shot too. So I say bring the elements on. I'd rather have a little rain. I want some wind direction. I want some shit if I'm out at a golf course like that. I don't want 80 and sunny.
That's what, and that's what makes, you're an entrepreneur. That's why you like that stuff. You know, I mean, if anything was if everything was easy, everybody could do it. You know, and it's funny you mentioned that. So two names I'm going to throw out here: Betsy King, who I've played multiple times with. She's a member over at our club here in Scottsdale, and Eric Hansen. Okay, Eric Hansen, you know, pitched in the for the Mariners back with Griffey and Randy Johnson, pitched in Toronto with Roger Clemens and stuff like that. So, you know, the guy, he was an all-star. He's been around the block. But Eric Hansen is a phenomenal amateur player. I mean, he's got a completely messed up ankle where the USGA actually gave him the Casey Martin rule, where it's like if he qualifies for a U.S. Senior Open or you know, like he was in Colorado he qualified for the Mid-Am last year at Colorado Golf Club. He is out there in a cart riding around because, you know, he can't walk 18 holes and play golf. It's tough. But those guys, I mean, Betsy and Eric, Eric's 55. I can't remember how old Betsy is, but when you watch now how many woods and hybrids they have, you know, Eric has driver 3-wood, 5-wood, driver 3-wood, 5-wood. He doesn't actually carry a hybrid, but Betsy's got a couple hybrids. And Eric will literally saw off a 3-wood from like 218 and cut it around a front bunker, you know, into whatever hole he's playing. You know, or he'll take a 4-iron from, you know, 170 yards and carve a little draw into the wind around the bunker, you know, into a back left pin and stuff like that. Where a lot of guys, you know, nowadays are, you know, from that yardage are taking a 7-6 5-iron and they're trying to hit something high and wrap and do this. I mean, the guy's a complete artist. You know, Betsy's the same way. And they always go, dude, it doesn't matter. No, their games have changed so much over the year, but they go, it doesn't matter what you hit. Just swallow your pride, swallow your ego. You know, Jack Nicklaus said the same thing. It doesn't matter what club you hit. It's how you hit it. Right?
No, I agree.
And,
I agree. Like golf's hard enough, right? And if I can use some technology and I hit like a low draw naturally, so if it gets up in the air a little bit more and I can still maneuver it and, you know, why am I fighting that battle? It's a tough game, man. I'm sticking with the 6 hybrid. I'm not getting rid of it.
I'm sure that thing is worn out. I'm sure that thing is worn out. Middle club face, maybe just a hair off the toe. You know, I think you're good to go.
Yeah. It does have. It patinas up in the sweet spot. You know, kind of right in that middle spot. So I pure the 6 hybrid. Yeah, I was going to ask you too. Is this ever fun? Like, so I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I'm curious. Like, as we're talking, have you ever went and got a caddy? And then you don't tell the kid you're a pro, whoever's caddying for you, and they're like, this is the greatest round of my life because this bastard hits it straight pretty much every time and it's long, and he reads putts better than I do. And then, like, do you ever not tell them what you do for a living and just let them think like they got the greatest amateur?
I had it at Olympia Field. We had this kid who was in the Evans Scholar program, and super nice kid. He was talking, you know, and I just gotten the Bettinardi that I used. I was literally at Bettinardi the day before, got the Hive putter, and was staying up with Pierce Grieve and his family. Pierce is going to be a heck of a player coming out of Illinois. Watch for his name. He's out of Lake Forest. But so I go down. We get on Olympia Fields, and this kid's caddying, and we're kind of playing back. He's not saying too much. He's just kind of like hitting stuff. So I bring him in. I start asking him a couple questions. You know, like the first hole is that par 5, right? And I'm like, hey, like, where do I kind of want to hit this? You know, like whatever. And he goes, well, you know, you got the pin on the right. You probably want to keep it a little bit left, whatever. I'm like, okay. And it was like 250. I'm like, hey, do you think I could get a 3-wood there? And he's like, well, I mean, if you hit it 250, yeah. Like, cool, thanks, kid.
Right.
You know?
Smart kid.
So, you know, I hit it in there. Yeah, it's smart kid. So I hit it in there. I 2-putt. I go to the next hole. I'm kind of doing this, doing that. And then he comes in. What is it? I think it's hole 8 is that long par 3. It's like 275 or 280. I think we played the back tees there. And he comes in and he gives me like a left edge read. I had hit it in there to like 5 feet. And he gives me left edge read. I'm like, are you sure? He goes, yeah. I'm like, I don't know, man. I think it might be outside left. And it was a left edge read. I'm like, I think it might be outside left. And he goes, well, do what you want, man. But if you want to make it, it's a left edge read. I'm like, okay. So I step up, hit soft left edge, thing goes in, and I give him like, hey, good read. So he starts asking me, like, he just talked me on the back, and he just goes, so what do you do? And I said, well, I'm kind of a independent contractor for this company, and that I'm the CEO of, stuff like that. You can just kind of see the confusion on his face. And I go, no, I'm kidding. Like, I've been trying to make the PGA Tour for about, I think back then it was like 5 or 6 years. He goes, wow, that's really cool. He goes, I could just tell that, that you were kind of a good player. And I'm like, yeah, but you ever want to know. I think it's funny. Like Max Homa out on Twitter, he, like, everyone made a big deal when he goes, I lie to Uber drivers about what I do.
Right.
Because as soon as someone finds out you're a professional golfer, it's cool. They get all excited. I mean, especially when you're at that level, they get all excited. But when people, like, the part of it that gets annoying is when people sit there and go, you're a professional golfer, the first question I always go is, well, how much money are you making? And I'm like, well, let me just tone this down for you. I'll tell you what my expenses are.
Right,
That
exactly.
might be a little, that might give you a little bit more of a gauge, And so, and then they go, well, have you ever played with Tiger? And my response is, yeah, you know what? He freaking texts me all the time. I never have time. I am always so busy. I cannot play with Tiger. He wants to fly me on his jet next week to Blue Jack National. Yeah, I can't do it. I got to take a real estate test. Yep. Like, come on. But it's cool because, like, when you're golfing, everybody asks you, what is it, if you weren't golfing, what is it that you would be doing? And about, if something doesn't work, what am I going to do? And I have had, in my experience, I've learned more about myself in the last 8 years after dealing with caddies, after dealing with other players, after dealing with traveling, being my own manager. Like, I had to call my mom one time to book me a hotel in Florida because I was getting crappy service and driving and didn't want to be on my phone in a storm, and like, stuff like that. Like, you learn how, you really learn who you are when the going is tough. Like, when you've missed 6 cuts in a row, 7 cuts in a row, and your game is right there and you're sitting alone in your hotel room eating Chipotle, you learn a lot about yourself. And that's what's kind of cool. Like you end up learning about, like, what you like, what you don't like, especially based off the people you meet along the way. You play golf with, CEOs, people like, you meet people like you that are entrepreneurs in a club company. You're like, hey, we just want you to play our clubs. I'm like, awesome. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll play your clubs. And then you meet people that, either want to take advantage of you and praise you in your high times, and then your low times, they don't talk to you, and it just, it kind of makes you.
You see all sides of it, right?
All sides of everything.
I'll see all sides of it, yeah.
You see all sides of everything, and it really makes you, it makes you good at reading people. It just, I don't know. I mean, I don't regret 1 second for, doing what I've done or what I've tried, and that's another thing, is how many people sit there and they go, oh my God, you're a failed professional golfer. I'm like, hey man, I can credit myself as a failure. You know why? Because it means that I tried. If you don't even try something, screw it, man. You're no better than the rest of them.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm doing it basically every day, right? Of being an entrepreneur and running the golf companies. I love it, but it's like, yeah, there's inherent risk. This is what happens. Now, hopefully we do a good job and business stays strong and we take care of our customers, and it's a labor of love of what we do. But
right.
But that's kind of the fun of it, though, too, is there is, it's not a guarantee. Like, you got to go earn it each day.
Right. And to talk up sub 70 a little bit, you can go over performance based off of price point, based off of customer service, everything across the board. You guys are great. I mean, I got in touch with you from Ryan, who runs the Monday Q Info account, and I sent you I don't know if I called you, left you a voicemail or text you, and you got back and you're like, hey, would love to work with you. Send me your specs. It wasn't send me your resume. Who are you? What's this? What's that? It was just, hey, yeah, we'll build something for you. And 2 weeks later, I had a new set of clubs.
It's still, like, I'm humbled by that, right? So I love golf, right? Like, I go golf when I have free time. I take golf vacations. I work in golf every day. And I love my family and my wife and all stuff. But, like, I'm like a golf nut. It is still the coolest. I'm like living my field of dreams from that standpoint of having guys like you trust us to build your equipment of stuff that we helped, have our hands on and help design. And we have, engineers way smarter than I am that also really design the stuff, but we still put our 2 cents in there. It is still the coolest thing ever to get a call from a professional golfer and say, essentially, hey, can you help me? I would like to game your clubs in a competitive mode. Like, I don't, like, there's no, like, sending resumes. Like, I think it's the coolest friggin' thing ever of working with, I love working with our amateur clients as well, but great, I love all of it. It's like there's always a challenge in every one of it, but there is still nothing cooler than getting a call from a professional athlete and saying, can we work together to build some sticks for me? Like, it's awesome. Like, I hope I don't think I ever will, because I've been around it for so long that I understand golf and I understand what it takes to be a professional. And talking to, what have I done, 100 and some podcasts. Most of it is not Phil Mickelson in the sense of, he won as an amateur, so that one doesn't count. Justin Leonard, where you have your full PGA Tour card and 6 or 7 sponsors exemptions, right? Most of the journeys is Tom Pernice Jr., who grinded the shit out of it, found it, got great, stayed great, still great, won last year again, but it took him 10, 12 years, 15 years of perseverance. Olin Brown. And then once they kind of got it, then they were on the PGA Tour for 20 years. Or, Tom, I think Pernice was he was exempt, same with Olin at 50. 50, he's still doing it, right? It's like that's most of those guys' journeys. It's not college, big contract, tour card, 12 wins, jet, go home. It's a grind.
Exactly.
And I think I just admire, the guys who are pro golfers, and I know how hard they work, and I know how hard it is. And we just had Zach Fisher stay with us this weekend. By the way,
great guy.
What a class act. Oh my gosh. How do you not root for him?
Class act.
Class
I've never
act.
personally met him. I just know his story, and he's a class act.
I'll tell you what the coolest thing was. So we always had bets, guys couldn't come out because Kishwaukee, it's not actually a national golf club. It's like a 6,400-yard old Tom Bendelow, 6,400 yards par 70 from the tips, right? What would a professional golfer shoot out there? Now, Jay and I were talking, and we had the over-under at 64.5. Sight unseen, no caddy, casual round. So
you had to throw the half in there, didn't you?
That was really the bet. That was the Mason-Dixon line. So we don't actually have it. And people at the club were like, guys at the bar, he won't break 70. It's too severe. Gosh, you have any idea how good, the different level of good this is, right?
That's unbelievable.
He came out after he did the Monday Q. He didn't get through. Talk about tough. 4 spots, 7 under for a playoff.
It's unbelievable.
Right? It's unbelievable. So the poor guy, he's playing his heart out. He's super talented, but he didn't go. He went under par. I don't know, it was a couple under, but just not enough that day. So he still is like, I'll just come hang out with you because I was out there playing. So we played 12 holes. It was the easiest looking 4 under par through 12 holes I've ever seen out at Kish. So my over under bet, if he would have had 6 more holes, it'd have been damn near what I thought at par 70, right around 64 or 65 sight unseen. It is.
Exactly.
It was crazy cool to watch a player of his level up close, just me and him chilling on Sunday afternoon, of how much better it is than even the average high-end amateur at the club. It's a different game.
Right. Guys sit there and they go, you know what, I should, and here's how you know you're not committed to doing it. Oh, you know what, I should just turn pro and go play some events, right? We had a guy out here it's probably 4 or 5 years ago, and he was playing the best golf of his life, played Division II college golf. He played with Reem Gibson at Oklahoma Christian. And he was playing, where he was never shooting outside of 67 to 69. And he's just like, you know what? I should turn pro. I should just turn pro. I should just do it. I should do this and that, blah, blah. I came from a family with a bunch of money. And I'm like, yeah, okay. You're playing country club golf. You're playing country club golf. Teed it up with Sean O'Hare, month and a half ago. He'd seen the course twice, 2 or 3 times. First time I played with him, shot 62, set the course record. And it's like, Like, what are you even talking about here?
Right.
I mean, I've never seen the guy hit a 3-wood. I never have. Every time he's going into a par 5, it is long iron, and it is 100+ feet in the air, and it comes down soft. It's just a different deal, you know. Last Saturday, JJ Spawn, little guy, tiny, goes 285 3-wood off the deck to our 4th hole, straight uphill, hits 3-wood 20 feet short of the green. I mean, pumped it. The ball moved 0 inches. It was dead straight.
Well, that's what I noticed too. Like, yeah, it's like the drives too. It's like a 17-degree launch angle with 117 mile an hour club head speed with like no spin. Like if I hit the ball that high off the tee, it would go about 115 yards. Like Zach just killed it. Like it just murdered off the tee.
Right. And you know, the funny thing was, you know, like me, I was always, you know, in college I was long, after college I was long. Now, I mean, I've had just age. I mean, I can say age, 31. But, you know, I've had a couple surgeries. You know, I got a really bad left hip, left knee, whatever. But if I'm 100%, I go out, I'll keep up with Sean O'Hare. Like, and by keep up, I mean like within 10 yards. But if I catch one and he catches one, he is 20 by me. I mean, easily. You know, and it's just a different game. But like, you know, I was just home. I was playing my high school coach and you know, a high school teammate who's just a phenomenal athlete. And I outdrove him by about 40 on one hole. He goes, Jesus, man. He's like, how far are you hitting it now? And I said, it doesn't matter how far I hit it. It matters what score goes on the card at the end of the day. Does hitting it long make it easier? Yes, it does. But look at what happened at Olympia Fields.
Right.
Look at what's going to happen at Winged Foot, right? And all the way the golf is going, oh my God, we got to lengthen the courses. Oh, we got to lengthen the courses. No, you don't. You got to narrow the fairways. Narrow the fairways. That's all you have to do.
Well, I still want to hit it like Zach, though, once in my life to see what it feels like to hit like a 300-yard drive in the air at that launch angle with that low a spin with a 2-foot cut. Once. I want it once. I think if you go back to what we were talking about with the Big Lebowski and maybe go down that route, you might be able to do that once. But that's where I think you have to record his driver swing with the hit, and you have to plug in your 8-track tape and just channel it. Channel it.
I think that's what you got to do.
Well, I got to ask one last story, because I think we should just do this on a regular basis, because I just think it's fun as hell to just talk to a professional golfer and get the, you know, what's going on in golf and stories, and like, you know, everybody like basically out in the professional world. So we just keep picking your brains of good stories, and this is a great one. So we're going to end it with this. You got to tell the listeners the Sean O'Hare kicking the shit out of you story, and you're like, what, 4 under through 9, and you're getting pummeled or something like that? Like, you're playing great.
Smoked. It was like a nurse with stage 4 Parkinson's trying to put a catheter in you. It was awful. And so we go out there. Sean's hungover. Okay. So I'm all excited to play with him. And the night before, he was having drinks with one of our members, Justin. And Justin, and here's the thing, Justin's no slap. I mean, he's like if Justin practiced and played, he'd be a plus, you know, 3 or 4. He played at Bowling Green State. Good golfer. God, who did he played against Ben Curtis, who won the major. I think he played against Ben Curtis, who played at Kent State. Ben Curtis is now, once again, the nicest guy in the world. He's the assistant golf coach at Kent State now. But yeah, he won the 03 Open Championship. Yeah. He's back home and just doing his like thing, living his life. Great guy. So he was at Bowling Green when he was at
Kent State, right?
When he was at Kent State, yeah. So, and Justin pounds it. He's a big dude. He pounds it. So we go out there. Sean's hungover. First hole, par 5, slight dogleg left. Sean hits probably 5-6 warm-up balls. Goes out there, goes driver 5-iron from 225 to 6-7 feet, makes equal. I made birdie. We go to 2. Sean misses a putt, but he hit he had a slight downhill par 4, and just pumps driver over the right bunker, which is like, you can get it there. I mean, with like no wind, but he was into a little bit of a wind and he had like 40 yards in. I'm like, this is insane. And then he doesn't end up making birdie. He doesn't get, he gets up and down the next hole, par 3. Then it's like driver 5-iron to 6 feet, misses an eagle putt. I made birdie. Then we go to the next hole. Sean makes birdie. I miss it. Next hole, I make birdie. He makes birdie. Next hole, birdie. I think he shot 30 or 31 on the front, and I shot 32, and we were down like, I don't know, 2 presses. We were down 3. I mean, we're just getting our asses handed to us. So then he goes to 10. He misses a birdie. 11, he hits it to an inch, a par 3. Again, it was like another 5-iron from 215 into the wind. Hits it to an inch, makes birdie. I birdied the next hole, and I ended up shooting 5 under. And we lost 6 ways.
What do you think you shot that day?
That was the day he shot 62.
That was a 62. Thanks for coming. I'm hungover. 62.
Thanks for coming out. Thanks for drinking Casa de Sol tequila, which we know you love. And thank you, Justin, for getting him drunk so he's just not thinking about anything. And we just got our absolute asses handed to us. But it was one of those things where, like, he took a few holes off and he just kind of went par, par, par. Then it was birdie, 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 birdie. No, Tom Haldeman was the other one we were playing with. And it's just like, it was unbelievable, where it was completely effortless. It was effortless to have the ball just like watching. And here's the thing. Like, I played with Rafael Campos, played with Denny McCarthy, played with Cameron Davis. Okay. Campos and Davis absolutely pounded. They pounded. And Davis is obviously a little bit farther than Sean, probably, just with his youth and his length. But Sean, for how far he hit it and how he never missed a fairway or a wedge, it's just like, it was incredible. And the funny thing was, afterwards he goes, I'm just not a very good wedge player. I'm like, well, fool me, dude. You hit every one to 6 feet.
62, you're doing something okay.
Yeah, 62. And then, he goes on the podcast with Gravy and the Sleeves and goes out and plays on Friday again, like with Justin, one of our members, and they had Nost out there. They had Drew Stoltz out there. The guys are just hilarious, right? And Sean's like, dude, imagine, if I could hit, good wedges and good putts. And Cole Nost's like, well, Jesus, imagine if I could hit it 320.
Right.
Right. Like, it's what you get. But to go out there, and you're like, you're playing against a guy who's had $24 million in career earnings, plus or minus maybe a couple million, and you're excited to play against him, and you're sitting there watching him hit it, and you go, wow. Like that, what, that was a one-time thing. The next time I played with him, he shot 63. The next 2 times he shot 64, 65. But he gets in the bar, buys you a drink, money
you can't get mad, right? I mean, you shoot like 4 or 5 under par, you lose. You just go, what do you do? Yeah, I mean, if I shot...
What do? You go Happy Gilmore and you try and take his leg out or something. You got to sweep the leg. You got to sweep the leg, dude.
You tip the hat and you go, well bowled, sir, right? I mean, like, what else can you do? You did your job, right? You're 4 or 5 under on your own ball. Like, you would take that pretty much every day.
So it's funny because the last time we played with him, real quick, we're playing 18. Poor Justin, he did not play very well. And Justin and Sean become really good friends. So, we're playing these games, and Justin was my partner. Of course, he was my partner. He didn't play very well. And, we're pressing. Every time we pressed, Sean birdied. It was very demoralizing. So we get to 18, and Sean, we have a little car path that goes to the middle. It's a par 5. Sean hits the car path, and it just catapults all the way down the fairway. And Justin goes, Jesus, you freaking hit the car path. Screw you, cowboy, the whole thing. And I go, well, hey, here's the thing. He goes, he probably has a wedge in from 170. You know how bad his wedges are. And Sean just laughed. He goes, yeah, you're probably right, man. I might make 5. Well, of course, he hit 7-iron from, 210 to 15 feet, and it was just over. So, but it's fun. It's so fun to watch. Like, even like on Saturday we had this game. It's fun to watch Tanagawa hit the ball. It's fun to watch J.J. Spawn hit the ball, Sam Triplett, Kurt Triplett, John Cook. I mean, it's fun to watch them play.
Yeah,
They've been around the game for so long.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn, and they're legends, right? I mean, like Kirk Triplett, John Cook. That's like playing golf with legends right there, my man.
John Cook is a great guy. I mean, I just remember watching him on the Champions Tour. He just moved out here from Orlando because of the Golf Channel deal. And came out and played. And, dude, the guy sat with us and had beers, him and Kurt did, and they just told old stories. And it was
awesome.
So much fun to listen to. And they were so nice to us.
That's awesome.
And we're just mini tour guys.
Well, you know what, though? We're all golfers. That's kind of what I figured out, too. From
right.
At first it was like, my first guest was Calcavecchia, right? He's like Calcavecchia is like one of my heroes growing up, right? He's awesome. But it's like I'm scared shitless, right? Like my first interview, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm interviewing Calc. Couldn't be nicer. Gotten to be friendly with him, right? And most all of the guys, I got yelled at once. I won't say who it was. So I've done over 100 of these things. 99% of the guys are just like great dudes who just are really good at golf. That's it. They're just like great dudes who are really, really good at golf. That's it. Not that much different. They're just, give them a hot dog at the turn and a beer. They're happy. Like they're just good dudes. I mean, we're golfers.
Here's the thing. I'll never forget Calc. I heard a story about a good story, but the year he won the principal charity in Des Moines at Glen Oaks. A buddy of mine's a member at Des Moines Country Club. So it was the year he won he wore the bacon pants.
I remember that picture.
Yeah. Exactly. So the day before he's playing the pro with all the guys, he's drinking beers, having a great time, doing all that. Goes out with them at night, has a few beers. And one of the guys, like, dude, he was all, just all happy, just feeling no pain. Gets up the next day, shoots 64. And then the guy's like, hey, Calc, you want to have some beers? He goes, boys, in the lead, got to shut it down. He shut it down. He won the tournament. I can't remember what he shot. But, it was just one of those things like, guys, got to shut it down. Then after the tournament ended, boom, right back to it. Bacon pants.
Well, Calc ain't afraid to – he's streaky, right? And if he's on, he ain't afraid to go low. He will fill it up and go low.
After seeing that picture of him driving in the RV, I did not take him in my fantasy draft.
That is the best photo ever. People haven't seen on social media. Poor Calc not feeling good in the Afghan driving the RV. Brenda took it of him. It's just he looks like he should be in Grumpy Old Men or needs like rollers in his hair or something. It's the greatest picture ever. Living legend.
Sitting on a ship, sipping wine with a couple of rich broads.
Oh God! All right, you want to do this again? Should we do this again?
100%. You know what? I think we should check back in every couple of weeks. I'll start watching a little more golf, and we can talk about everything going on and still share some stories.
Maybe we'll do it like a post U.S. Open pod of just getting.
I think a post U.S. Open pod would be great. U.S. Open pod would be great.
Get your perspective. See if the USGA actually got this thing together right, where it's not a shit show of disasters. Like, let them play some golf. I think a professional's perspective would be good. Let's do it.
You know what? And here's the thing. I'll talk to my buddy. My buddy Kyle, our assistant pro over here, is actually from New York and has played Winged Foot. So I will watch it with him, and I will get the ins and outs, and I will give him 100% of the credit on the deal. But I think it'd be great. I think Winged Foot is like Pebble. I don't think that you can screw it up.
Well, let's hope. Let's have I want to see a good U.S. Open. Let them make a few birdies. We don't need it all tricked up.
Right.
But let's do a post analysis of that, and let's get your perspective. It's fun to hear from the pros and what they when they're watching it on TV of what they think. So I think it's going to be interesting. Let's do this.
Yeah. No, I'm going to go jump on some Call of Duty and play some Warzone, and I might see your kids on there. You never know.
Well, have fun. Don't have too many tonight. We will be in contact soon. Thank you for doing this. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I knew it would be fun. First podcast without any notes. I literally did this with let's just talk like we bullshit and we talk on the phone or whatever. So this was perfect. Let's just plod through. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it again. I had a ton of fun. So if I don't talk to you, have a great weekend. Play some good golf, and let's catch up soon.
Right. Going to Oklahoma next week. Got Carson Creek and Oak Tree National lined up. Ready to go.
It's tough life you lead, pro. Tough life.
It's really
Thanks
tough.
again.
It's really tough.
Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Jason, love you, man. Talk to you later.
All right, later.